Well, welcome everybody. Hi, James. How you doing? I think this is slightly different meeting to what we've had before. I'd like to just let people know that I'm down by 2 screens. I've only got 1 screen today, so if I make a mess of things, then I apologise. But I think I can just about manage. I believe that Douglas is on an alternative call, so I think we're going to have to try and manage without him, or maybe he's jumping on later. I'm not quite sure. So welcome to everybody. If you are new to the call, you're more than welcome. We are being live streamed, and the chat is being broadcast, and we are recording. So if we please remember our P's and Q's, and that will be excellent, everybody. And if you do come on the call, if you can say your name and your organisation. I'm Jim from Telos UK, and it's my pleasure to chair these meetings. People are slowly coming on. I'll keep burbling on for a little bit longer until we get a few more people on. If you could enter your name in the onto the agenda, please, on the roll call on the agenda, that would be appreciated, and you get captured for posterity. Normally at this point we hand over to Douglas, who gives us a quick heads up regarding the. Oh no, I do a quick go through of last week's takeaways, which were external comms discussion are getting lost on the channel. So please try and use the external comms channel. I think we've been doing that. That's good. Oh, just a quick heads up on the Slack channels. Just make sure every now and again you check that you've got all the channels visible, because new ones are created and people are chatting away on different channels. So just make sure every now and again you refresh those. The EOS, right, that's all fine. That's okay. So if we move on to today's agenda, if we've done the roll call, and then 3 is the Telos weekly report, which is normally Douglas. Unless anyone from GoodBlock wants to jump in, I can just spin through what Douglas said. James, do you want to pitch in, or do you want me to have a quick spin through?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. So again, this is Douglas's Medium article, which he posts, I believe, every Thursday. And the main takeaways from it were, I won't go through them all particularly, but the biggest one that was out there was the DEX EOS first exchange to be listed on Telos, and Douglas obviously made a real big thing about that, and that's been in the channels, and clearly that's a really big thing for us. There was an article about the testnet stage 2 2.1 mega merge update. That can be seen on there, and all the things about that are on there. So if somebody could post the Medium article in the chat sometime, I'd appreciate it. But if not, Phil will do that at the end. For anybody who's not seen it or who's on the live stream and trying to follow what we're talking about, the Telos EOS lost keys and compromised account and key swap process, that's all underway, and there's a long article about that. The knowledge base on Wiki is expanded, new Bootstrap server, 2 monitoring tools on Pulse and Aloha EOS in the BP benchmarks, which I think is a great step forward for us, and Telos Block Explorers monitors. And I think the key thing, one of the key takeaways I got from the article was that Douglas had moved to a checklist approach to his Medium posts when he talks about in progress, function, and in testing. And this notion about having a checklist approach is something that I dare say we'll talk about as we go through the call. So hopefully everybody's on and about, and we can move through to the working group, the chair update. So I've got arbitration.
Arbitration has 2 new documents. This is Brett Jeffery from EOS The World and Big Iron BP. We have 2 new documents, minimum requirements for arbitrators, and we have a human language reg arbitrator contract which I've read through, and they both look good. We have our first attorney of the female persuasion on board, which is great. But we did have one guy drop out, so we're still hovering around six or so attorneys. Could use more, especially people from not in the United States. And that's all I've got on that.
Oh, that's fantastic news on the attorney. The fact that we've got a female representative as well. That's great for that update. Who's that? Jeffery? Oh no, who's that? Brett. Sorry, Brett.
Hey, sorry. One thing about that. Can I please get that information about who's wants to be an arbitrator candidate, because I need to put them up on the website. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I'm hopefully doing some work with some local academics in the UK. So I'm hopefully going to be bringing some academics on board on that area. So again, just a shout out to everybody. If you do know anybody who's going to be able to help out with the arbitration process, then I think that's be really, really helpful. Okay, then, so I haven't got anything on the bounty system. That seems to be ticking over. James, do you want to talk about that? Because you did mention we did talk about the pie slicing at one stage in Slack. Is that all okay now?
Last week we did change the values for the commission rates for exchanges and dApps for the most part. I think that we got a decent sized group of people to come to what we think is a pretty equitable solution for that. So if there's any more, if you want to take a look at it, it's probably not a bad idea. But like I said, I think we're all pretty comfortable with where it's at right now. We bumped them up by quite a bit. They're actually quite valuable. So yeah, let's get some exchanges on board. That'd be awesome.
That's great. Are we? Is the slicing pie and are people using it to how you expected? I know Rob normally talks about that sort of thing, but are we using it to how we should be?
Yeah, I think it's going pretty well, actually. We still have, I think there's quite a few people putting their time in, and I think it's going pretty well. Right now, we're pausing approving hours, by the way. That's still underway. Having a little really minor issue with it. But besides that, everything seems to be going pretty well. So.
Great. Yeah, I think it was that was the bit that I was alluding to, that we had an issue with the authenticating the hours. I've actually personally written a load in there, but I haven't pushed them all through yet. So that's something that we can do at a later date. But as long as we're
I want to be clear. Please continue to record your hours. This is only about just approving them, which can happen at any time. So just remember, please continue to record them.
Okay, thanks for that. So if we just carry on with the community rewards pool, I'm not sure, I can't see Minucci on the call. We've got a note here that it's going strong. We've got over 100 entries now. I don't know if anyone wants to comment anything else on that, but it sounds like, and looking in the channel, it seems that people are quite happy with the rewards program so far.
Yeah, I just want to point out that we're over 100 and growing quite a bit. Actually, just recently we've gained quite a few. So continue to chat that up when you can. I think that is going really well. We kind of figured at one point that I think if you work out the math, that if there's 90 people who get the max, then we would give away everything. So seeing as how we're well over 100 and growing, the chance of giving away everything seems possible. So that'd be great. That's
great. Yeah. Anybody want to comment on how that's running at the moment, or are we all okay? My window's small, but I can sort of see people. Great stuff. Okay, so I'm down to dApp outreach. I'm not sure if Justin's on the call today. There isn't anything in the agenda. Shall we skip through? Okay. Development, Peter, do you want to go on that?
Yeah. Currently, we have finished the second. Let me just pull this up. Sorry, we finished the second version of the ratify amend contract, and we're currently we're having an issue with claim rewards. We're going back and forth on automating it and not automating it. We're running some experiments right now But otherwise, we're going to have a version, a bugless version of claim rewards ready here within this week. And once we've resolved that, most of the unit tests should be resolved, and then we should be putting out a new release either the end of this week or the beginning of next week with those changes in it. And I think that we're getting, I don't know if anybody's already looked at the example for the new monitor. There was, people were handing around links, but Amplified Telos has been working on the new monitor, and it looks amazing. We're getting closer and closer to reaching the minimum viable product. We had a list of requirements, and we're in the process of discussing what those version 1 requirements are, and then we should see an early version of that in the future, soon in the future. So I believe that's all that I've got for you right now. Just to double check.
You haven't got Douglas to tell you you've not said enough today, Peter, so you can stop if you want, or I can say, well, Peter said that, but there's 50 other things that he's done in one sentence there, so I'll say that anyway, just to make you feel at home.
I'm underselling it. I'm underselling it.
I'm sure you are. I mean, the claim reward thing is obviously quite is a massive piece, and we got a thumbs up from Mark on the monitor there, so I think it's all good to go. So if anyone wants to sell it anymore, that's fine. But if not, we'll move on. But again, I think all that the stuff that you're doing on that side is to be praised, and you know it's really great what the work that you guys are doing that side. Okay.
Hey Jim, this is Ian from Amplified. I'm going to jump in really quick just to build off of Peter's comments. So my team has, as Peter mentioned, my team has been working on the monitor for the past few weeks. We feel like we're a couple of days from sharing a release candidate for the V1 with the rest of the Telos community. So keep an eye out. We'll be announcing on our blog and then obviously sharing that through Slack and Telegram. There's still more work that we'd like to do. So we're in the process of prioritizing requirements for the next sprint. But at least the first version should be shipped later this week. So we're excited about making that contribution. Well, we thank you for your contribution, and yeah, that's absolutely fantastic news. I'm sure we're all really pleased about that. So that's great. Thanks for your work on that and your team, Ian. That's brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to head on to Beth and the outreach group. Is there anything that you want to comment on there, Beth?
Sorry, I'm multitasking on you. No, I think we have another exchange on board, but we haven't signed paperwork, so we can't really officially announce anything yet, but we're getting pretty close. Everybody that's in this working group, we have some new faces, which is great, and I think we're making good strides in kind of developing those relationships with some of the exchanges, but you know, it's a process, but we're getting there. Okay, thanks for that, Beth. I know that Douglas was alluding to maybe a couple of exchanges being very close on the call I was on the other day, but yeah, it's all hush hush. I know. I'm not saying he didn't say anything for me to say, so I can't say anything because I don't know anything. Yeah, we've been getting lots of interest from the exchanges in general. So, but of course, you know, until we have something signed, sealed, and delivered, we'd rather not throw anybody out there. So we're trying to push information out as soon as it's available for the community, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah, I appreciate that. I was only sort of trying to big it up a little bit, but you're quite right. And you know, until these exchanges are really big for us, and I think the more exchanges that we get, and I'm sure they're going to come on board, and the work that you guys are doing is invaluable. So we thank you all for that. And I better not say anything else in case Beth stares at me and does that again. So I'll stop talking. Does anybody else want to comment on that? So we're talking. Have we got to external comms? It's Beth again, because I've got Roger behind me. He's hiding. So I think it's up to you, Beth, or do you want me to read it out? How are you going to go? No, I can go ahead and do it, unless Roger wants to stand behind you and do an interpretive dance. No, I think it's going to be voices off. So carry on, guys. That'd be great. You don't want to see Roger, believe me. Yeah, external comms is in a good place. There's a lot of new documents coming out from the different work groups. So we're trying to kind of make sure those get pushed to this work group so that we can kind of share the news with the public in an appropriate way. In case anyone has missed it, there's a lot of documents that have gotten put out kind of as different Medium articles over the last few weeks that are kind of for your consideration articles that we'd really like public feedback on. So anybody that's part of this big group that hasn't had a chance to really sign off on those because they're not part of this exchange work group, or I'm sorry, the external communications work group, or anybody out there in the public that still wants to take a look at those and have their 2 cents, you can find them on our Medium channel with an FYC for your consideration title on those. And then we're basically just kind of still cross-referencing work with the marketing and social media channel as well to get information pushed out. But this channel is always a great place for any conversations around things like rebranding or kind of big PR messages, because there's definitely a lot of things happening right now. So please stay in the conversation on this work group channel.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Beth. Yes, I know we're talking about names, etc., etc. So again, a really big plea to keep an eye on all the Slack channels, and again, just make sure you've got all the Slack channels open and you're following those as best you can and contributing where we can. So I've got the next one is governance, which I'm a part of. I know Adam's not on the call today. Syed's often in the meetings with me. Other than the only thing I've got to say is that we've got a load of governance documents that are going out onto that Medium channel to be commented on. I don't know, Syed, if you want to say anything about any particular documents we're working on at the moment. Got no sound, Syed.
And do you hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay. I mean, lately we have been working with the arbitration process mainly, but I think one point which I want to say now that everyone should read all the governance documents. It's 2 things we can achieve with that. Everyone will know how the Telos network will work and will be governed. And also if there will be mistakes, we will be able to update or correct our mistakes. Yeah. So it's a good time to review those documents before we go live. Yeah.
I think I'd have to second that, as I've been part of one of the people who's been writing these documents, or not writing them but contributing to them. So the idea of there might possibly be mistakes in them is very high. So I think that it would be really great if we could get as many eyes on those documents, and they're out on Medium, they're on Slack. If we can get as many people to look at those as possible and as Syed says, familiarise yourself with the governance documents. It's not, I'll have to admit, it's not the most exciting read, and it's not the most exciting few hours of the life that you can spend talking about with Douglas, getting a word in edgeways regarding governance. But it is a necessary evil, so we'll keep on going with that. So the next one.
Sorry, can I just say one quick thing about that? I just wanted to say thanks to the governance team, because we're sort of at a milestone here where all of the governance docs are out and produced. So that's very exciting. So yeah, hooray for you guys. Good job.
Thank you very much, James. We believe me, it's been a joy to do those documents, and the fact that they're out there and other people can be reading them is really important. And it's if you haven't read those sort of governance documents, they are a really good learning curve for people to go out there and point your friend. No, don't point your friends to them, but point people to them and get people to have a look, because everything's commentable, everything's open source, so that's really cool. The next item on the agenda is actually mine, which is the meetings section. I think I did say that we were going to change the agenda this week, or the style of the agenda, and I decided not to after I said we were, because I think it would be better after we've had the first no-go call, which is this Friday. There's been some chat in Slack, and that chat continues. And I'm happy to get people's opinion on the way the call is going to work. Firstly, we had a long debate about whether the call was going to go ahead, and the general consensus is that it will go ahead. And I'm proposing, I need a date. Is it the 28th?
Yeah, it's the 28th.
Yeah, the 28th. The idea is that we have a call on the 28th, we publish an agenda, and we have a discussion in and around the go, no-go checklist. I'm going to propose a time of the same time as this call, which is 1600 UTC, and just briefly open that up to the floor to see if I can get any feedback from people.
Sounds good to me, Jim.
I've got a thumbs up from Jerry, which is I always like. That's something that I'm always pleased. I've got other thumbs up going around, so I think that's going to be a go. So a date for your diary, guys. The 28th, 1600 UTC is going to be the first discussion around our go no go live checklist. So again, the checklist is available on the website. Check it out, and we can promote that and promote people to that call. So, has anybody want to talk about that, or shall I move on?
Yeah, this is Brett.
Oh, go ahead, Brett.
This is Brett Jeffery, EOS the World. So, with regarding the checklist, in order to make an informed vote, will there be last-minute updates posted somewhere as to where we stand on all the important components?
I can talk about that. The intention is that we'll go over the checklist. I think that's sort of a matter of course of that call. We'll go over the checklist and we'll talk about where we're at. And then should we need a vote, because if we feel like we're done with everything on the checklist, someone will call for a vote, and then we'll actually have a vote. We may not have a vote every call because we may not be ready with the checklist. So I will make sure that the checklist is updated as we go, especially leading up to those go, no-go calls. So keep your eye on the checklist, and then if you have any questions, you can contact me or talk to people involved in the stuff on the checklist, and we can have a conversation about it on Friday.
Is that okay with you, Brett?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So
I have one question on this area. Can I talk? Yeah, I think one thing I am not clear, and maybe other people, I don't know if they are clear or not. If we call a vote and if its decision is go, have we agreed on the process to go live?
I think that I'm going to move us on, because I think the idea is that during that call, that's where we'll have those conversations. And I think the idea is to set people's mind at rest that we will have a full and frank discussion around each one of the points. And I think that's the whole idea, is rather than having a blind sort of not sure what we're doing, the idea is that all the information will be in front of us and we'll make an informed decision. So I think we can, if we don't mind holding questions until then, and then we can go through James's updated checklist. Any information that you haven't got, you feel you need, we'll call for that, and we'll move on in that sort of well-ordered process. Okay, so I'm going to move on if that's all right, and I want to talk about network maintenance. JT, Jesse, Jerry, the floor is yours, guys.
Hey guys, I'm actually driving to a lunch meeting right now, but and I'm not looking at the agenda. But as of yesterday, I went through the entire BP list, and I rotated everyone into the top 21, just 2 or 3 at a time, and force unregistered any BP node that was not producing blocks. And that left us with 25 nodes. So, you know, we had a discussion yesterday about BP outreach, which I think is going to remain to be extremely important so that we could get to that 40 number. As far as anything else, I think Jerry's got the agenda up and he can speak to the other things.
Yes. Okay. We went past 5 million blocks on the testnet, and as Peter mentioned, the claims rewards was fixed where you can't scam the system anymore, and now you can. It doesn't matter. You don't have to claim every day. You could claim once a week. You won't lose any money. And the auto removal is in the code. It's just the contract hasn't been deployed yet. And Jesse has this let's see if I can get it to, like, he put up a different monitor showing uptime, which I want to share with the group if I can.
That was me. I just started, I created some uptime robot links monitoring peer-to-peer ports so that we'll know when nodes are actually up and down instead of having to watch the monitor to see if they're producing blocks. So it will be extremely handy to give us a 60-second up-to-date look as to what nodes are online.
And I posted it in the chat.
Okay, that's great, Jerry. Thanks for that. Again, loads of work done, and the fact that we've got 2 million blocks, the 25 solid BPs is really great. That rotation, we have got. I know we need to get more BPs, but it's going to be a little bit of a chicken and the egg, this thing, isn't it? Sort of moving around. So, I think we're going to be getting more people really quickly. Roger, do you want to say something?
So it's 5 million blocks.
Sorry, 5 million blocks, whatever I said. Okay, so I'm going to move down to onboarding. Johnny, I think that's probably defunct now, unless he wants to jump in on that. I think that's all okay. I've got security. I haven't got anything down. I haven't got Azad on the call. Are we all okay with that at the moment? I haven't got anything to add.
I can ask one thing. We have the security meeting on Thursday, and there were some questions about the BP minimum requirements. So I think all of you who have any question or any feedback or an issue, they should join that call. The security governor, especially I think Jerry and JT. So on Thursday we have our normal working group call.
Yeah, I've got it on my calendar. I plan to be there.
Okay, thank you. So that was all.
Okay, thanks for that, Azad. Anybody else want to jump in on that? We all okay? Again, on all these calls, even though we're working in our separate areas, we're getting so much crossover now. We obviously need as many people from different sides to come in to support each part of it. So the process is working. I've got marketing, social media. I can see CJ around. Do you want to contribute, CJ?
Really quick update. We've done a lot of work the last week. I want to say a huge thanks to Josh at GoodBlock for what he's done as far as getting the decks looking very they look great. You'll see. So we're going to be putting them up. We're going to be putting the electronic press kit, which is almost done. We're just having once over today, finishing up everything, and then we'll be getting that so it can be downloaded on the website, and that will be anybody can use it. Obviously, we'll encourage media to go there to get that information, which is kind of just like a big one piece of document that people can download and kind of get any kind of information they want about Telos, the network, the launch, everything. So it's going to be pretty cool when it comes out. Should hopefully be the end of today, if not tomorrow. I don't know how long it'll take to get it up on the website, but we'll have that in the next 24 hours, hopefully. So
cool.
That's out.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks, CJ. Your audio wasn't fantastic, so I'm just going to recap if that's okay. I got a general impression that the press pack is going to be available in 24 hours or so. Is that the general gist of that? That's great. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Okay, I did hear it correctly. That's brilliant. Anybody else from the team want to jump in on that side of things, or are we all okay? Any waving hands? Nicole, you look poised to speak. Are you going to speak to me?
In the middle of a conference call, I'm trying to get over with.
Hi guys, thanks so much. I was looking for the documents, so I went back into Slack and just searched. So I've been out of the loop, but I wanted to
past my section, so I think I'm just going to drop off. Actually.
Whoops. Did I interrupt somebody? So I wanted to let you know that I'm working on.
Carry on, Nicole. Sorry. Yeah, keep
I'm
going.
working on a new way, and this is so different from what you guys are doing, but can bring in a lot more people into the vote. So it's a loyalty program based upon the mobile, and it shares it. What it does, it gamifies the process. So I just came back from an AI conference with Facebook, and this is really doing well for a lot of different industries, but I think blockchain is brand new to this, and it could really do very well with it. So I've been working with a lot of different chatbot specialists, and I'm going to do a prototype of this where it can gamify the process of creating the Telos and EOS vote. And so that's what I'm working on. And once I get it to a point where I can show it on the phone, I'll make a video and push it out.
Well, that sounds superb, Nicole. Thank you for that. That's again a great piece of work. Anybody want to comment on that? Yeah, it'd be great to see your video, and working with that side of things is brilliant. So thank you very much for that. Okay, I'm guessing that Telos Foundation, whether anybody's got anything to say regarding that, with Douglas not on the call, I'm guessing not, unless Beth wants to chip in, which I'm guessing, from what I can see, not. Translations, anybody want to talk retranslations? So there isn't anything on the agenda. Oh, hi Beth, sorry, you there?
Hi. I'm actually not a chair on that group, but I know that both Joost and Chen are traveling, I believe. Chen isn't on this call, so I'll just speak on their behalf. I feel like my sense of what's going on in there is that we're really behind on some of the volunteers being able to make some time for this. So I think we're going to kind of try to touch base with everybody one-on-one to see what their capacity is. There's a few key things we're still missing, and then a few smaller things we're still missing. So just kind of a heads up to anybody that's on this group that's part of the translation group. There was a little audit that we did, and there's definitely some things that we need from you to be engaged. So we're appreciative of the community being patient while we're trying to get some more information out there in some key languages. So yeah, I feel like this group's a bit behind, and I think it's just a matter of everybody just being able to either kind of make some time or find some extra resources. So don't be surprised if Joost and Chen don't start poking you individually.
Okay, thank you for that update, Beth. It's most welcome. So we're down to the round group, which again is normally Douglas's baby, but unless anyone wants to speak about that, any waving hands? No. So the date of the next meeting, I have not actually written down here, and that's deliberately on my part, because the go no go call will actually supersede this call, because as soon as we go live, this meeting or this group cease to exist. So the meeting will be on the 2nd of September, 1600 UTC, if you can make a note of that, Phil. At the same time, this time next week, but only if it is a negative on Friday. So I think it's really important to remember that, you know, this group will sort of vote for Christmas. Turkey's voting for Christmas, when we will disband as soon as we get a go, no go in the positive. So all I'm going to do is say thank you everybody for your time, unless anybody else wants to contribute. Anybody got anything extra to add? No? Well, I'm going to say thank you everybody for your time, and more than likely see you on. I seem to have an interloper is now crashing my style behind the scenes. So if anybody's going to be at Blockchain Live tomorrow, look forward to seeing you there. If not, I shall see you on Friday or this time next week. So cheerio everybody. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, we managed without Douglas. Can you believe it? How about that?
Oh my gosh.
It was a short call. I wonder why.